Hello and welcome everybody. This is Mikey from MikeySuzeFour. As you can tell, I'm kind of a little under the weather today, but I felt like I was well enough to go ahead and go through these two uh, episodes here from season 3 of the A Team. And of course, this is my favorite day of the week because it's the end of the week and I get a chance to relax a little bit after I'm done today. Um, I will put out the copies of the Vader Shards of the Past Part 1 that we're going to see on Saturday, or we're going to see before Saturday, so that we can go ahead and do our quick reviews of the fan film. So I will send that out to my special panelists today. Make sure everybody gets it. I'll do that later. Okay. So, like I said, today I'm not feeling well, but well enough to start 5 minutes early and try recovery until this Friday night, with the Waltons because I'd like to be there, for uh, Gorilla, Gorilla Censored Thoughts, and then for Saturday for our Star Wars fan film. So, yeah, I should be okay, but like I said, I'm going to try to get some extra rest today, I hope. Okay, so as we always start, welcome again for A Team. As we always start, I'll go ahead and read from the opening monologue here. All right, so in 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the LA Underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. Now, if you have a problem, and if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A Team. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, always fun. Alrighty, so before we begin with the episodes today, I just want to mention where we stand as far as the series itself goes. Now, apparently, at this point, you haven't really seen either Melinda Kulea playing Amy Amanda Allen or Marla Heasley playing Tanya Baker. As you know, that was all planned out by George Papard. He did not want women to be in this anymore to help the team. He felt like the four guys that he had, well, the three other guys that he had, and then later on he decided, oh, sure, Eddie Velez, whatever. But anyway, uh, he felt like these four characters were already well established. People had already watched them, and they knew what they were going to do each week. They were going to probably have a minor setback. Somebody gets hurt, somebody, is injured, but they find a way out of it. Nobody gets killed, but they continuously use a lot of firepower. And tensions at this point that I read, as far as background research and so on, tensions at this point were very palpable. There were two things. Now, Papard was at this point, he was trying to understand Mr. T playing BA. And there was a lot of tension between the two of them. And sometimes, every once in a while, Mr. T would push, but then Papard would push back. And it's really weird because the dynamic was there. And they were trying to establish that rapport, right, over that period of time. But Mr. T already saw he was probably the only one, other than Dirk Benedict, who could really see that the women that were excluded, that had tried to help them in those first two seasons, after they were excluded, they really had to come up with some kind of way to make the characters stand out more. Well, George Papard had always said, if I'm not the leader, I'm gone. He did say that. And I was like, well, I understood. Because the man had come from up to this point, he had come from a long line of movies, Breakfast at Tiffany's, he did that with Audrey Hepburn. He did all these great movies and, a few television shows too before this. But he realized he was the main lead actor. And therefore, he had to establish the rapport with the other gentlemen, and he was the leader, and he had to lead. That's what he had to do. Now, Dirk Benedict, as you all recall, when he came over from Battlestar Galactica, remember, he wasn't even in the pilot episode. We know who was in that, Tim, yeah. But I mean, um, but from that point, Dirk Benedict always looked over his shoulder because he kind of knew. He looked at when the women were gone, and he kind of looked at his character, and he said, "I got to expand the face a little bit more, and I also have to have him a little bit more sympathetic about the causes." Or he could just be confused and say, play confused and say to, Hannibal, "Hey, what the hell's going on?" You know, I realize, you know, that was that rapport, kind of that dynamic where he says to Hannibal almost every episode from here on out, he says, "Why are we doing this?" He says, "Look, I know we're on the run." He says, "But there are better things to do over the horizon. We don't have to help these people. We can go like the four of them are an alpha team, right? So they know the risk and they know what to do." And of course, in this case, um, in an indirect way, Faceman was trying to be the voice of reason, right? He was trying to stop them on certain situations from going hog wild. Well, that's what Hannibal does because he's the leader. Yeah. So, I mean, you could see that. And then Murdoch, played by Dwight Schultz, Murdoch could be really nuts if he wanted to be. But I think that he was trying to become more friendly with BA because, believe it or not, they share the same blood, the same blood type. Yeah, really scary. And I think that on that cellular level, that is where, Murdoch thought, "Hey, BA and I can definitely get along. I don't see why he's so pissed, at me most of the time, telling me, 'Hey, fool, stop acting crazy,' and all that stuff. Or like, 'I ain't flying no plane,' and all that stuff." So, I mean, it was just that, mm, mixture was trying to work. But it was like fire and water, or like oil and vinegar, or some other shit. I don't know. But anyway, the tension, as I said, between all four gentlemen started to rise. It was already there, but it was starting to build more. Now, here's my take on, real quick before we get into these episodes. There's not a lot of information, so I'm trying to do this. Okay, so here's what I thought. When they got to season 4, it did get a little more personal. Now, the government had brought out Jack King, who played Colonel Fulbright. They had brought him out for a little while, during season 4, because Lynch had failed, Decker had failed, some other guy who came in for one episode tried, almost succeeded but failed, you know, and then the mercenaries that went up against them, one episode almost succeeded but failed because they knew them. And the thing is, when you got to Fulbright was being a bit more uh, aware. He was being a bit more sensible. He said, "Okay," he says, "I know a way that I can draw them in, but they can help me at the same time." And of course, they got him killed. We all know that. But that was the only one of maybe one or two people in the entire series that got killed. And then of course, we saw Hannibal dispatch the other guy with a flamethrower off screen, and you could tell, that guy's dead. So there was those few moments that, excuse me, there was those few moments that the team realized, okay, we're getting near the end of the line. Something's gonna change. Something's gonna happen. Well, as we all know, towards the end of season 4, Robert Vaughn comes into the picture as Stockwell, General Stockwell, and then you've got Frankie Velez, who usually helped out Hannibal on movie sets, but wasn't always there, right? You never saw him really. But then when he comes out and becomes prominent, yeah, that's when all hell broke loose. And In my honest opinion, Kapla. Hello, Gorilla. Gorilla Censored Thoughts. Good to see you, my friend. Kapla, indeed. So finally, just to finish. So when we got to the trial, those 3 episodes, the 3 parts that they did for the trial, and what happened to him at the end, and I don't want to give too many spoilers, but to me, honestly, that was the peak of the A Team. It was. And then when they passed it, went through it, and then they go into season 5, all bets were off. And that was it. That was the death knell. They had reached the peak of the mountain, and I think even Papard at one point said, "We have reached the top of Mount Everest, and now we're ready to climb down. It's over. We're done." And I think the other 3 gentlemen agreed with him. But that's why they film these things, and that's why they have a whole, not a complete season 5, but that's why they have some episodes in the can, and that's why we talk about them. That's why we're here. So when we do reach the end of season 4 with those last 3 episodes of what is simply called the trial, you'll all know that we're going to go through this real quick. Now, like I said, next week we get to start with Get Smart on Wednesday. That's going to be very cool. Also, after this is done, the next thing I plan on doing is what we call mystery shows. Now, let me explain this real quick. A mystery show such as Ancient Aliens from History Channel, or Fact Beyond, Beyond Fiction, Fact and Beyond, Facts and Beyond, which was hosted by Jonathan Frakes. And then you had way back in the day, Unsolved Mysteries by Robert Stack. And then before that, you had the man himself, Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy, who did all 6 seasons of this little mystery show known as In Search of. And we plan here at MikeySuzeFour, we're planning, well, I know I'm planning, but I know she helps. What we're doing is we're going to go from a certain mystery show, starting at the very beginning. We will start with In Search of and do a few episodes first. But then we'll go into Beyond Fact or Fiction. Then we'll go into, we'll go into Unsolved Mysteries, then Beyond Fact or Fiction, and then we'll go into Ancient, Aliens with the History Channel. And the reason why I'm doing that is because those 4 mystery shows stood out to me, and I thought that they were really well done, and a lot of information was provided about UFOs, the paranormal, aliens, Bigfoot, all sorts of stuff, and weird places in the world, like in Sedona, where you go through different portals all the time. Yeah, 1 minute you could be standing on a town street. The next minute you could be standing in the middle of the desert, no street, no asphalt, nothing around, and you see Native Indians. They were called Indians then, not Native Americans now, but they were just wandering around the place. Or you might be in the middle of uh, you might be there in the city center. 1 minute you walk into a building, the next minute you come out, and there, dusty streets, you see cowboys running or walking, some citizens, and in Victorian style clothing. You might see somebody on horseback riding for only a few seconds. It's usually about a minute, 2 minutes at most, but you see this and then you're freaking. So then you say, well, wait, if I go back in, maybe I'll be okay. And in most cases, yeah. If you go somewhere else and you go into it, and then you go shoot, and there you are. You're back in your normal location. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of things like that out there. A lot of places. Yeah, we'll talk about the Bermuda Triangle. We'll talk about the Devil's Triangle, which is over in the Pacific Ocean. You know, where the Malaysia flight disappeared. All this other stuff. So believe me, we're going to cover a lot of ground, and like I said, it will probably be middle of summer, maybe towards the beginning of fall, right? So it's going to be a while because we have a lot of episodes to cover. Like I said, for 18, we've got almost 2 whole seasons left to cover, and about the rest of this season. But like I said, that's why I do 2 episodes every Thursday when I can so I can cover it real well. And I am surprised. I thought, you know, the Greatest American Hero, for the coverage I was doing for that, I thought it would last longer. But actually, I'm glad it's good. I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad I'm done. And now I can go to Get Smart, which is what all of you folks asked for at the beginning of this year. So I want to make sure that was done. I'm going to turn this light on in the back. So give me a moment, folks, while I step away for just a second. A couple seconds. I always need a lot more light from here. Do you want me to turn the other one on too, honey?
Sure, please.
Okay. Yeah, I know, girls. The girls are so excited. Daddy likes doing this. And they go, oh, you're watching Daddy on TV. He's having fun. I forgot to lock up. Like that. Okay. All right, there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Should I stay with the hat on or no hat? Yeah, I'll take the hat off. Okay. I'm just finishing some pizza lunch. Suzanne went and got us some wonderful large pizzas yesterday with healthy stuff on them, all healthy stuff. And we're almost done with them, so I'm down to my last piece, but I'll wait till I'm done here and then we'll go and do it. And Gorilla, thank you for coming in. I appreciate that. Okay. So the first episode we're covering today is called Breakout. This came out on Tuesday, December 18th of 1984. And it got a 7.2 out of 10. Still a C grade. And that was seen by 330 people, according to background information with IMDb. And then the following episode, three more people than 330 saw it, so 333. And again, the same 7.2 out of 10. So as I said, the tension was palpable around this time. And I think the producers and the writers saw that some of these scripts just seemed like they were, manufactured like a, processing plant. Same old scenes, same old scenarios, nobody dies, but you got all this other things going on. And they were suffering. And so both these episodes pretty much were like a C grade to me. So I would say definitely for me 3 point or just a 3 out of 5 for both episodes. I agreed. Uh, you know, I sometimes I'm very flexible and I can probably give a better grade that I to my estimation for what I saw from the episodes myself way a long time ago. But I have to say, yeah, I agree with the people in these two episodes. I think a C grade is perfect. So that's what I gave for both episodes. But anyway, let's go. And then, as I mentioned before, when Cup of Joe came out, that was Tuesday, January 8th, 1985. Well, apparently, back then in the mid 80s, people cared about Christmas shows and the Charlie Brown and all that stuff. That was a big, huge thing back then, and I really liked it. So that's why, and I really liked them. So that's why, the people at A Team said, okay, let's just take a break. We'll take a Christmas break, get everybody to give them a chance to have a Christmas holiday, enjoy it, and then come back and start filming. So yeah, that was kind of cool. They were able to do that. All right, so season 3, episode 13 is called Breakout. We'll take a look at that. Okay. And sometimes if I pause, it's just because I'm trying to get through this. Okay. Now, the director of this episode was Dennis Donnelly. He had done a few he had directed a few episodes previously. The writers, of course, Frank Lupo, Stephen J. Cannell, and Mark Jones helped him out. He did this a few times too. And, of course, the regular cast of characters, George Papard, Dirk Benedict, Dwight Schultz, and Mr. T. Now, let's see. Was there anybody that stood out to me in this? Lenore. Yeah, I think there was. Well, we've already talked about Colonel Decker. We talked about Carl Franklin, who played Captain Crane. I think we'll talk about Callie Russell, played by Lenora Kasdorf. Yeah, we'll talk about the ladies in this one. And then there's also Tawny Moye, who was played the role of Patty in this episode. So yeah, we'll talk about them after we're done here with the first episode we're covering. Let's see. Okay, so here's the basic summary plot. While BA drives to Hollywood, where Face is having a ball, Murdoch's rabbit's foot doesn't stop him, and the black man from getting hijacked by bank robber Logan and his mate Malcolm. Just chasing them gets both 18 members arrested, and the sheriff believes they initiated the ride, so they're packed off to a work farm too, while BA's fingerprints can't fail to alert Decker. Hannibal impersonates the colonel, but is too late. Inside, they see an accomplice free the crooks, but handcuff both of them, forced to bring a shot guard to the hospital, but they escape there. Meanwhile, Hannibal rushes to the widow and small son of another Logan's accomplice who supposedly had the loot stashed away. Okay, cool. So, like I said, this is called Breakout. So we'll go back here and we'll take a look at the trivia. Okay. Face appears only for 2 short scenes. He does not take part in the action of this episode. This is one of the very few episodes of the A-Team in which a character is shot. Even though the show features a large volume of gunfire, it's actually extremely rare for someone to actually be hit by a bullet. Mr. T has said in later interviews that this was his least favorite episode. As Murdoch and the kidnappers leave the service station in the van, a Ford Ranchero can be seen on the right-hand side with the same paint scheme as the A-Team van. And Hannibal dons a Godzilla-type suit again for this episode. So very cool. All right, and that was it for the trivia. Let's take a look at the goofs here. Okay, first of all, there's a couple of continuity goofs. First one is when the ambulance they're driving breaks down, they hear Decker closing in on them. BA and Murdoch hide beneath a pile of brush. However, when they exit the pile and are next seen riding in the schooner, they're pristine clean without a speck of dirt clinging to them. Okay. When Malcolm points his gun at the scarecrow, actually Murdoch in disguise, it seems he stands far away, yet Murdoch manages to jump the distance to tackle Malcolm. When initially approaching the stolen ambulance, the Dodge Aspen that Decker is driving has no bumper guards or license plate on the front bumper. When pulling up to the ambulance moments later, the bumper guards and license plate are in place. That's a pretty big continuity problem if you didn't have those on there in the first place. Okay. Then there's a few miscellaneous goofs. When Bia and Murdoch are driving the buggy with the sail, the close-up of them with the clouds in the background shows they are not moving. During the breakout scene in the background, a person can be seen hiking up the hillside. And at the work camp, the inmates are digging a trench segment in which both ends are visible. There's no explanation why they're digging a trench that doesn't connect to anything else. Okay, then there's a couple plot holes. While getting in to the soon-to-be stolen ambulance, BA's prison uniform shows, yet the deputy holding him into the back of the ambulance is clueless. BA and Murdoch rush to help the injured guard. The next scene, they bring him to a hospital. No explanation is given how they were allowed to leave the prison unguarded. When posing as Colonel Decker, Hannibal is told by Sheriff Bickford that the camp that BA and Murdoch are being held at is about 10 miles from the sheriff's office, but doesn't give any directions to it, yet Hannibal finds it with no problem at all. And finally, there's a character error. Right after Hannibal takes the shotgun from Callie inside the cabin, Toby goes to the door to keep an eye out. As Hannibal is standing and talking to Callie, he's calmly holding the shotgun while it's pointed directly at Toby. Hannibal, a trained special forces operative with years of combat experience, would never point a weapon towards someone he wasn't in a gunfight with. Makes perfect sense to me. Alrighty. There are no soundtracks, but I do believe there's some production filming locations, so we'll get to that in a moment. Let's go to the quotes. Okay. So the first quote is with Murdoch and BA. Luck is with us now. My rabbit's foot's gonna bring his luck all the way back to LA. Rabbit had 4 of them. Didn't do him much good. And then Deke Logan, who's one of the criminals, right there with Murdoch. Slide over and drive. I'm warning you, you don't want to take this van. I mean, you really don't want this van. I said you better move. Well, let me put it this way. Taking this van's like taking downtown Tokyo away from Godzilla. Colonel Decker says, this has Hannibal Smith written all over it. First he impersonates me, then he starts a prison break. And Deke to BA, I owe you one. If you try something, you better make sure I don't get up. And Murdoch says to BA, BA, I'd like to take this opportunity to say I'm really sorry they took your gold. That's all right. If I don't get it back, I'll just have to kill you. And Murdoch says, I want a phone call. I want a lawyer. And I want to get this ink off my fingers. It gets under your nails and then you can't get it out. And Callie with Hannibal and Murdoch, she says, have you ever thought of hiring yourself out, Mr. Smith? I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who could use your help. Well, we ought to think about that, huh, guys? Yeah. And then Deke says, well, you come to the end of the road, pal. You just dug yourself a grave. No, this is too short for me. And then Malcolm says, where'd you learn to drive like that? I saw Cannonball run 5 times. Oh, this place is going to be crawling with Decker bugs in a minute. Hannibal says, the only problem with the vet is the vibration starts whenever you take it over 95. And then BS says, if you want to stay alive, keep your mouth shut, or I'll nail it shut for you. And finally, between Hannibal and the only time that Face Man appears, I got to hand it to you, Face. I found Decker's ID in the car trunk. It's perfect. Hannibal, I was saving that as a surprise for your birthday. Well, you can get me something else. Now listen, I'm almost to the camp and I got the release papers. We'll meet you in LA. Okay, well, as soon as things come together down here, I'll catch the first flight out. Take care, pal. Ciao. I promise. That's the last phone call. Oh, that's so cute. All right, so let's take a look at, let's see if there's any filming and production. Yep, there we go. Okay, so these are the different locations. There's a town in California known as Newhall, Newhall. Then, of course, we've always talked about Santa Clarita, so there's that location. Then around Hollywood. Then where Murdoch makes a right turn in the van while being pursued by BA and the sheriff, that happened at the intersection of North Mansfield Avenue and West Waring Avenue in Los Angeles. And finally, in Santa Clarita, where the 18 van is hijacked at the gas station, that was located at 24,018 Lyons Avenue, right there in Santa Clarita. Very cool. All right. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the quick mini bios of the 2 women in this episode. Excuse me. So sorry about that. All right, so let me get back to the episode list here. Scrolling. Ghost Riders in the Sky. Okay. All right, so the first lady we're going to take a look at is Tawny Moye, who played Patty. Let's see what we got here. Okay, it looks like Tawny is still acting. She's an actress, additional crew. And according to this, she was in Halloween 2, looks like. So we'll take a look at this here. She was born on March 30th, 1957, in San Diego, California. She's an actress known for Halloween 2, that she starred with alongside Jamie Lee Curtis. That was in 1981. She was in the horror film While You Were Sleeping in 1995, and she did Sports Night in 1998. So at the end of this month, she'll turn the ripe old age of 68 years old. Very cool. All right. And of course, so Halloween 2, she played the role of Jill. While You Were Sleeping, she worked on the additional crew, so she wasn't actually acting. Uh, in Sports Night, which was a TV series from 1998, she appeared in one episode. And in a earlier movie in 1981 called Looker, she played a warrior housewife. Cool. Already. And so far, it looks like the very last thing she worked on, so she might be retired, but the last thing she worked on was a movie called Thank Heaven in 2001, where she played reporter number 2. And in the Drew Carey show, she did one episode in 2000 playing the realtor in that one. So, very cool. So that was Tawny Moye. All right. Yeah. Now we'll take a look at Lenora Kasdorf. Okay, and Lenore is an actress, and she's still acting. And then, oh yeah, she was in Missing in Action with Chuck Norris. That's so cool. She was born on July 27th, 1948, in Queens, New York City. She's known for Starship Troopers in 1997, Cellular in 2004, and Star Trek: The Next Generation. She was previously married to Phil Peters. So in July this year, she'll turn, wow, she'll turn 77. Cool. Alrighty. And in Starship Troopers in 97, she played Mrs. Rico. And in 2004 with the Cellular, that's a great film. She played the ticket checker in that one. And in Star Trek: The Next Generation in '93, she was Lauren, Lorin, for one episode. And then she did 3 episodes of Babylon 5 series in 1994. She worked as the ISN reporter in that. So that's cool. And her very last film so far, yeah, Cellular in 2004. Okay. So that's those ladies from this episode, Breakout. Okay. And we have our brother Jay. Brother Jay is here. Yay. Hello. And Renee. Hello, Jay. He says, say, boy, you cover about as much as a flapper skirt in a high wind. He says, I say, boy, pay attention when I'm talking to you, boy. Yeah, that's from Foghorn Leghorn. He's my favorite Looney Tunes character. That's like, Walter, what? Yeah, exactly. Well, it's great to see you, Jay, and both you and Gorilla. Thank you. We got 2 likes. Great, fantastic. Alrighty, so let's go to the next episode today, and we'll go back here real quick. Okay, there we go. All right, so okay, and the next one is Cup of Joe. Like I said, that started the premiere of the series in January of 1985, January 8th. Now, I want to quickly mention that sometimes the stunt coordinator, the stunt leader, stunt director, the gentleman was Craig R. Baxley. Uh, he sometimes got to direct episodes that were very action-packed, I like to say. So in this episode, he did direct Craig R. Baxley. Lupo Cannell and a man named Dennis O'Keefe were the writers for this episode. And Usual cast of characters. Okay, so Cactus Jack Slater was played by John Ashton. I know we just recently lost him because he was in the, you know, he was in the Axel F. Beverly Hills Cop series, with Eddie Murphy and and I can never remember that other actor that was with him, the big tall guy. But anyway, yeah, we'll talk about John Ashton here. And let's see, anybody else? Hmm. No, I think I want to talk about Ashton. But also, I do want to talk about Craig R. Baxley briefly. We'll just go over what he's done. All right, so we'll do that at the end. Okay, so when Cactus Jack Slater, who already owns a chain with 3 nearby diners, adds violence, putting Joe in the hospital to his offers for his small town family business. His wife, daughter, and friend Skeeter, a truck driver, hire the A team. Murdoch immediately decides to rise to the occasion as a chef. When Face poses as insurance claims adjuster for the truckload of restaurant supplies the team stole from his headquarters, Slater is awfully suspicious, especially about the plans for his new shopping center just on Joe's spot. Fortunately, he also plants a wire, which proves Hannibal's right, suspecting there's a reason it must be that spot. And another synopsis, Cactus Jack Slater owns several diners on the interstate and is pressuring the owners of a small diner to sell to him, which they refuse. He places the father in the hospital, so his wife and daughter seek out the A team and finds them. Hannibal first sets out to get supplies for the diner by raiding Slater's warehouse. He then sends Face to find out why Slater wants the diner so bad. He learns Slater is planning to build a shopping center right in the spot where the diner is, but how does he expect it to make a profit when there's not much traffic? Slater sets out to get the diner one way or another. So pretty cool. There's like 2 summaries for that episode. Not bad. All right, let's check out the trivia. Okay, and it's just one bit of trivia. The diner scenes were filmed at the Halfway House Cafe, which is a popular spot for TV shows and films. 3 episodes of the A Team have used this location. Very cool. All right, let's take a look at the goofs. There's one character error goof. When the truck driver pulls up to help the girl, he shuts off the engine and is then unable to restart it. A diesel truck driver never shuts down his rig for just a few minutes. Wow, cool. I can tell there's not a lot of stuff on this one. Okay. And let's see. Well, there's a couple quotes. That's cool. So Face says, Murdoch, you'd make somebody an excellent wife. And then it's between Hannibal, Face, and BA. How's it look, BA? The fool's under the truck. I hope he knows what he's doing. You might be surprised what old Murdoch knows. Now, I get the feeling more and more that his brain works on many different levels, like layers, peeling away one after the other, exposing new and wondrous aspects of H.M. Murdoch. That's very poetic, Face. I thought so. Poetic? You mean pathetic. You peel that Murdoch's brain, you get nothing but jello. And then Face says to Murdoch, I hate to break security. I believe, Colonel, in this instance, that security is not an essential factor. I believe, Colonel, in this instance, that security is not an essential factor. Yeah, he was supposed to be speaking like Darth Vader. Sorry, I used the other voice. Okay. And the Murdoch says, it's not a polite thing to interrupt an artist at work. And then Patty Dutton says to Hannibal, I never thought I'd see the day when Cactus Jack Slater and his boys would start packing like that. This time we did them over easy. Next time we'll scramble them. Face to Murdoch says, you want me to go out and ask BA for paprika? Remember that girl he had me call up? Paprika. Yeah. Patty Dutton says to Edith and Cactus, You'll never get away with this, Slater. My daughter's right. Someone will go for help. Is that right? Who? By now, Joe Dutton is history. And those 4 cowboys you hired, guys with machine guns, don't go to the police. Dun, 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 dun. Alrighty, let's take a look at the soundtrack. Okay. So there's 2 things that stand out in this episode, and they're mostly commonly used songs. Um, First of all, they say that an instrumental of the song "City of New Orleans" is playing. It's uncredited, but it was written by Steve Goodman. But I know who sang it originally was Arlo Guthrie, so that was kind of cool. And then they did the song that Eddie Rabbit sang called "Driving My Life Away," and that, of course, was written by David Malloy, Eddie Rabbit, and Even Stevens. And yeah, so that song was on there as well. All right, let's take a look at the filming and production. Okay. Now, the Halfway House Cafe is located in Santa Clarita. There's the town we mentioned previously. And it's located at 15,564 Sierra Highway. They also filmed in Castaic, California, which is off I-5 as you're going over the, what they call the, um, what was the name of that highway again? Well, it's a big turnpike. The Grapevine, that's it. So as you're going over the Grapevine, leaving LA, going down into central coast of Florida, or central coast of California, where they have Bakersfield, Fresno, all of that. So on the way is Castaic. They filmed there. And then, like I said, Santa Clarita. They were in Newhall, and they were also in Acton, Acton, California. So very cool. Alrighty. So let's take a look at the cast and crew. We'll take a look at Craig R. Baxley, who directed this episode. Okay. According to this, he does stunts. He's a second unit director or an assistant director and also director. And he was born October 20th. But it doesn't say the year he was born, so I'm assuming he's pretty old by now. He's a third-generation filmmaker. After starting his career in front of the camera, working his way up as a successful stunt coordinator and second-unit director on films like Predator from 1987, Reds from 1981, The Long Riders in 1980, and Warriors Come Out and Play from 1979. With such talented directors as Don Siegel, Alan J. Pakula, Warren Beatty, Norman Jewison, Walter Hill, and Steven Spielberg, he transitioned, making his directorial debut on the acclaimed hit series The A-Team. Okay. Okay, a couple of the movies he's known for directing. One is Action Jackson, which features, I believe, Samuel L. Jackson, in 1988. Stone Cold from 1991, Dark Angel movie from 1990, and Predator. He was worked on the stunts there in the second unit with Schwarzenegger and the rest in 1987. And let's see. That's for stunts. Let's take a look at directing. Take away some stuff here. Okay. Okay. The last thing that he directed in 2011 was one episode of a TV series called Human Target. And currently, he's the director on a movie which is in pre production due to the dreaded C virus. It's called The Gingerbread Girl. And that'll be the next thing he works on. So, very cool. And let's see. Let's take a look at this here. Yeah. So his birth name is Craig Redding, like in the town of California, Redding, Baxley. That's why he goes by Craig R. Baxley. He doesn't like to use his middle name. And it says he was born October 20th. So, yeah. And he is currently married to Valerie Baxley. 1971 to the present. And he appears during a handstand in California's Mono Lake on the sleeve of the Pink Floyd album Wish You Were Here. Oh, cool. And they say, this is the last thing I want to quote. As a director, he's well known as being extremely well organized and very loyal to his crew members. Well, that's very cool. All right, so now we'll take a look at his the actor that, of course, we know is gone, John Ashton, in that episode, who played Cactus Jack Slater. We'll take a look at him here real quick. All right, Cup of Joe. There we go. All right. There he is. Okay, yeah. I knew we lost him recently. So he did pass away last year, 2024, at the age of 76. He was born February 22nd, 1948, and he died September 26th, 2024. So 4 days after my birthday. Okay. Yeah. John had appeared in over 200 stage, film, and television productions throughout his more than 50 years plus in the illustrious career. His first professional acting role was in the premiere production of Othello at the Hartford Stage Company at a very young age. He then went on to perform in summer stock on Cape Cod, Massachusetts, starring in Dark at the Top of the Stairs and The Gazebo. Within a few years, he was touring Europe with the USA Festival Theatre Tour, which performed in Germany, Cambridge, London, and Edinburgh in Scotland. And right, he's known for Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F movie from last year. He came back as Chief John Taggart, but he also appeared in every one of the Beverly Hills Cop films before that with Eddie Murphy. And he was in the movie Midnight Run in 1988. He played Marvin Dorfler. In he played his own self in a movie called Capturing Authenticity, Casting Gone Bad in 2008. And he was Cliff Nelson, who played the dad in Some Kind of Wonderful in 1987. And let's see. Let's just go over here what those other movies were. This will drive me crazy unless I take a look at the guy he worked with, since nobody's helping me out in this. All right. So, yeah, Beverly Hills Cop, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Okay. He came back. I don't think he was in 3. No. Okay. According to this, he wasn't in 3, but Beverly Hills Cop 3. But he was in the first 2. And then he came back special for the new one that Eddie Murphy showed last year. So, let's see here. So I want to go back to this real quick. Yeah, so what happened was Judge Reinhold, who played Billy Rosewood, helped out Ashton in the first 2 films, Beverly Hills Cop and Beverly Hills Cop 2. Billy came back in Beverly Hills Cop 3, but not John. So it was just Billy that came back for the third one. And then this last one they did, and I'll take a look at that real quick also. Yeah, there's his work. Okay. Right. So Beverly Hills Cop Axel F last year. And the plot of that was Axel fully returned to Beverly Hills after his daughter's life is threatened for a family reunion that includes old pals John Taggart and Billy Rosewood to uncover a conspiracy. And Right. So Ashton came back, and Billy Judge Reinhold came back. Um, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, you know him. When he comes onto a show or a movie, it goes haywire and goes bad. So he came in as Detective Bobby Abbott, and Taylor Page was Jane Saunders, which I guess is the daughter of Axel F. So, oh, and they brought back Bronson Pinchot as Surge. Oh, and the captain was played by Kevin Bacon. Oh, well, maybe we should go find that movie, huh? Okay, so, all right. So that's all about John there. And, okay. So now we'll go back here and let you folks know what we got for next Thursday. And then we'll check the chat. And then we'll head on out the door. So let's see here. Let's take a look at season 3. Right. So next week will be episodes 15 and 16 of season 3. Okay. Episode 15 is called The Big Squeeze, and that got a 7.3 out of 10 from 347 people. So again, these are like C grade episodes, They come, they go, it's kind of that way. And then the next one is called Champ. And that one got just barely a C. 6.9 out of 10 according to 329 people. So yeah, I mean, these are a lot of C grade type of shows, episodes. They're all right, but they don't always but they don't always end the best. So anyway. Alrighty. Well, we still have uh, Gorilla and Jay that gave us likes. So thank you, gentlemen, both. There's nobody watching. We're cool. So um, he said just a quick hello. Gotta go to town. So long, everyone. All right. Take care, Jay. And Jay, it's always good to see you. Gorilla, it's always great to see you. Gorilla, I'll probably be there for you, not tonight, but I'll be there for you tomorrow for not for Firefly, but I'll be there for you for Walton. So I just need to recover in case you get to rewatch this. Um, as for Jay, later on this afternoon, when I get a chance, I'll send you and Charlotte and uh, Palandoy and of course Scott and Elijah. I'll send all 5 of you a copy of the Star Wars fan film Vader Shards of the Past Part 1 from the Star Wars Theory YouTube channel. Make sure you watch it so that you can come join us on Saturday. Okay? And even if you don't watch it, come join us anyway. It'll be a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about that one. And that'll be this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time for that Star Wars fan film. And then the following week, we'll do a Star Trek fan film. Now, what I'm going to do, actually, is with Star Trek. I'm going to start with James Cawley's. I'm going to start with his, uh, episodes he did for New Voyages, and then I'm also going to start after that with you know, the Star Trek Continues with Vic Mignogna. But before those two things, I'm also going to go in after I do TOS. I'm going to go into TAS. Okay, so just know that those two things will go first. Then I'll go into the others. But what I would like to do actually is cover TOS and TAS here as I do weekly. But I want to cover the New Voyages and Continues through our uh, live streams that we do on Saturdays, every other Saturday with Star Trek. So I'm going to put up a poll on Saturday, this Saturday. I'm going to put up a poll and ask you: do you want to see the very first, technically season 4, episode 1 from James Cawley, or do you want to see the season 5, episode 1 of the Star Trek Continues? And if you let me know, and the poll will be up for the duration of our session that we're doing with the Star Wars fan film until the end. And if you let us know which one you want us to do, then the following Saturday when we do Star Trek fan film, it'll be your choice what you chose in the poll. So I'm going to put that up there. So that yeah. So you folks let me know on Saturday which one you want me to start with, and I can start with one or the other. So yeah, that should be fun. It should be a lot of stuff. Okay, so let's say a prayer here, real quick. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, thank you so much for social media and for all the friends, neighbors, acquaintances, everybody we know. I want to thank Jay Aldridge and Gorilla Sensor Thoughts for both being here this afternoon to help us out a little bit. We appreciate it. We appreciate them. We appreciate their families, and of course Jay's wonderful partner Renee. And we hope that all of them are successful in whatever they do, and we hope that they stay safe and secure in your love. Also, I pray for my brother uh, Larry and his wonderful wife Diane and their son Tyler and his good friend Ronnie from Ronnie's World and his sister, Larry's sister. As they all go through their tough times right now, the way that Larry's going through his surgeries, how he lost his mom, still recovering from that terrible heartbreak, everything else he's going through. But hopefully, when we reach his birthday this next Monday, I don't know the time yet, but I hope to simulcast with him through MikeySuzeFour here, both Suzanne and I, and we're going to celebrate his 60 years of life on the earth, and it should be a lot of fun. We're going to do a lot of stuff. We'll have giveaways. We'll do things. It will be cool. We'll do trivia. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So that's coming up this coming Monday on the 17th of March, and hopefully we can do a lot of good stuff then. Already. So, Lord, we ask for all this in your name, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. And of course, as I always also like to say, uh, blessed Lord, pray for us. Uh, His wonderful Son, Jesus Christ, pray for us. Holy Spirit, the most blessed Virgin Mary, our patron saints, Saint Suzanne, and Saint Michael the Archangel, defender of heaven, all of them, pray for us. Here we go. All right, so as I always like to say, I'm so glad, we reached the end of another week. Folks, you've been amazing. We do have 245. It's a steady road, but we're trying the best we can. We're at 245 subscribers. If you did enjoy this today, like Gorilla and Jay, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe. We're only 5 away from 250, which may not seem like a lot, but it means the world to us that we have 250 people that do care about us, that pray for us, give us a lot of love and support. And with that, we will do a special surprise live stream when we do reach the 250 mark. So, and when that happens, I will do a quick, it won't be necessarily a JAS, but I'll do a quick, webcam here, letting you folks know when that day is going to be set up and what time. Like I said, it'll be out of the blue, surprise. So, yeah, but I'm just letting you folks know. I do want to let you know when it's going to come. So it's not like you'll be totally surprised. You go, whoa, hey, where'd that just come from? Yeah. No, I just want you folks to know that will be planned pretty soon, as soon as we reach the 250 mark. So keep your hands together. So, first of all, on behalf of Gene Siskel from the Chicago Tribune, who was better than the Fat Man when it came to critics and critiques. But unfortunately, both gentlemen have passed away, so rest in peace, both Siskel and Ebert at the movies. Gene Siskel said, and now the aisle is closed. So thank you everybody for being here today. We really appreciate it. 2 likes, totally fine. Don't mind that at all. We're at the end of our week. And next week, of course, we'll go back and start it all over again on Monday afternoon around 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern with Red Dwarf. And then, like I said, We got the TOS episode coming up on Tuesday. We have the brand new reviews that we're doing for Get Smart series. Yep, starting with season 1, episodes 1 and 2. And then on Thursday, back again as we do our wonderful series that I love of all time, the A-Team. So I hope all you folks check us out. Remember, we're always thinking about you. We're always praying for you. We love you. We support you. And we hope that everything goes well in your lives from now and forever. So, first of all, my wife, most beautiful person in this world, says, "Oh, leave everything in God's hands." Best piece of advice that a minister, as she is for Universal Life Church, said to me one day, "Leave everything in God's hands," and I believe it every time. I say, "Yep, leave it in his hands. He'll take care of it." Number 2, my best friend Larry, who I have known for almost 50 years of life on this planet, and I'm happy to say is the most wonderful young, well, he's old man now, but I don't want him to know that. But anyway, he is one of the best friends I've ever had, and he always says, "Be yourself," and that means a lot. And then finally, what I say for our channel is always expect the unexpected, everyone or everybody, or vice versa. So, all right. So, as I finish out, I always say, God bless America, God bless Canada, God bless the rest of the entire freaking world that we live in and breathe in and play in and mourn in and all sorts of things. And finally, peace from MikeySuzeFour and our beautiful cats, Moonpie and Deja Vu. We all say peace. So we will see you next week again as we begin our weekly webcam series with none other than the best, in my honest opinion, the best sci-fi comedy and drama, Red Dwarf. So until then, fire up that Red Dwarf engines, you nanobots that have stole it. Fire up Starbug 1, and we'll see you then on Monday. Take care, guys. Oh, but we will see you Saturday for the Star Wars fan film, 1 p.m. Eastern. That's when we plan on reviewing Vader, Shards of the Past Part 1. Okay, now we're done. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend, and God bless.